'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Selling a little or a lot? Do your thing however you cha-ching with Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer23.
They don't need to know the problem. They need to know the solution. And I think that, that goes back to like why the win isn't as good as the journey. It's because we need to know the solution. We don't need to know everything, behind them.
Hey, my name is Veronica Cisneros, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3 girls, and married for 23 years. I am obsessed with helping you navigate through the seasons of marriage, helping couples like you break free from feeling like roommates. I will teach you the secrets to having a healthy marriage by providing tools and tips to help you reconnect in a way that you can't keep your hands off each other, where flirting and kissing is the norm in your household. Setting intentional time to date, get to know and support each other's dreams and goals so that you can grow together without keeping score or judging one another. Where you feel seen and heard even when you disagree. Where arguments end with mutual respect and understanding. Where you work together to build and strengthen your family so no one feels like they're carrying the weight of the family on their own. These are the necessary skills your children need for you to model so that they develop healthy relationships and thrive in life. This is the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. Hey ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. I am your host, Veronica Cisneros. Today's guest, I'm going to tell you right now, is a complete badass and on my speed dial whenever I get into freaking a speed bump, a road bump, a crisis, you name it. She is a mom who started TME, the Mom Empire, as a way to make marketing services accessible to women starting their business from home. She has watched it grow to be an industry competitor for creating impactful marketing strategies for female personal brands. Jennifer specializes in marketing strategy, Web 2, Web 3, and web design. In her spare time, she reads strategy books, definitely nerd alert, and kickboxes. Told you she's a badass. So please help me by welcoming Jennifer Waldsmith. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you.
Absolutely.
What an awesome introduction.
Absolutely. I wasn't lying, ladies. Like, she is the complete guru, not only when it comes to branding, but like she is next level tech savvy. Like there's things that I'm like, Jennifer, I don't know what I did. I think I pushed a button or 5 buttons. Maybe it was 12. Please unscrew this. And she's like, girl, I got you. Okay, it's done. That was easy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Cause I was like struggling for about an hour and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to call Jennifer.
The internet is broken. Somewhere in the cloud.
Somewhere. I broke something. So Jennifer, how did you create the Mom Empire? Like, how did this come about?
Yeah, so I was in marketing communications. And then when I got pregnant with my first child, I quit the 9-to-5 job and moved to freelancing at home. And part of the people who kept coming to me were other women who were starting their businesses from home and had no marketing connections, definitely not a high budget marketing connections. So they needed someone who could both give them low budget strategy ideas as well as help with marketing. So that's how we got started, is really connecting women who were kind of doing their business with other women who just wanted to make some extra income, helping them out. So posting for social media, helping with the strategy, doing the email marketing. And then since that time, we really have come to focus on helping female professionals focus on their personal brands. So executives in roles who are looking to make a career change, women who want a board role, a C-suite, and again, just business owners who want to take up more of a presence online so that they look better compared to their competition, because really the end result is people who are searching for businesses are searching for the people behind the businesses.
Bingo.
And if you're looking crazy, you're losing business.
Absolutely. How did you know you wanted to become an entrepreneur? Like, how did you know? Like, did you just all of a sudden, like, it just fall on you and it was overnight, or was it something more?
Oh, I think my husband would say I'm the worst. Everything has a monetary value to it. To me, he got into beekeeping. I'm like, let's sell it. Let's start this kind of business. I'll call it the reluctant farmer's wife. Like, I had like,
oh, that is catchy as shit. Yeah,
it's so cute, right?
I love it.
I know. So anything there's an idea, I think it really catches wind with me when I hear passion behind the idea. I think, I get so many pitches for retail brands. I don't work with retail anymore just because I don't think there's passion behind any kind of clothing design and things like that. They just want to sell things in order to make money. But when you hear passion or a hobby and there is potential to make money, my brain goes wild. I can't help but think of all the implications, what we need to do, what are the next steps to reaching the people you want to reach.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how it fell on me, but that's just how I was wired. And with marketing and communications and strategy and websites, it just kind of built. It was my thing, my passion.
Yeah, definitely. And you're so good at it. So take me to when you first started. The business. Obviously, you are this high achiever. Where did you start? I just recorded an episode with another entrepreneur, and I was telling her I literally started by renting an office from one of my colleagues. And then all of, the building was being sold. She was moving to another state and she moved out all of the furniture. So I was literally, in the beginning of my practice with lawn chairs, and I'm like, come into my office while I charge you $100 for this session, and there's like lawn chairs set up, 3 of them, right? Because I had to make sure there was seats for everybody. Like,
can I offer you some water in the solo cup?
Girl, I didn't even have water. So tell me where you first started.
Sure. It started out slow. Again, it was like freelancing, and then the clientele really built up. And I found myself in this position where I was being talked to in 100 different ways. So I had this newborn. At that point, I might have had my son as well. So I'm going through can I just like stop and say, I think women, when they give birth, they're already vulnerable. Let me say that word.
Yeah.
But women who are trying to run and open and operate a business, I think even more so, they have these voices in their head telling them how they're, supposed to raise their kid. They're questioning themselves. They're losing pieces of themselves that were a reality before a kid and not so much.
Yes.
They're realizing that, their husband has extra needs that they didn't think would, happen during the kids. Their in-laws are crazy.
I know.
And on top of that, being responsible for a team, if you stop moving with your business, is dead in the water. Just so much going on. So that's kind of the place that I found myself. It was this, sink or swim kind of scenario. And we have a mutual friend, another business coach, Jennifer Waldsmith, that we were talking one day and she says, you need to hire someone. And I was like, I don't have the money to hire somebody. And she's like, you don't have the time to not hire somebody. Yeah. And so it was, I think entrepreneurs at their core are risk takers. So I think that happened a lot with me. So one day on a whim, I closed my eyes and I kind of posted this job landing page for people to apply to for this,
Yep.
company that I had started, and with no money in the bank to hire a person, hired somebody. And
Yep.
what happened in the first 2 weeks was that she took the clients that were on overload, and she gave me the ability to onboard new clients and finish tasks and give her the things that she could take care of and clear the plate. And really, she's still on our team. One of Melissa, she's amazing. She's still on our team, our longest term employee, and she really cleared the way to make everything happen for the rest of us. It's now a 5-person team, and the same thing has happened. As soon as like the plate has gotten full, then we hired a new person and overran the hours. A lot of it was crossing fingers, but it was kind of like an hourglass scenario. You just kind of keep tipping.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Right.
You had given me a scenario about a TikTok that you watched. Tell me about it.
So the TikTok, I'm going to describe this badly, but let me give it a try. I had watched it this morning where it was describing that professionals, high achieving professionals, high achieving people in general have to have a certain level of childhood trauma that they're overcoming. It has to be less than something that pushes them over an edge into extreme substance abuse or other issues, but this certain level of childhood trauma that makes them into these high achieving people. And it was all based on that idea that they have something to prove. They have something to prove with their time, with their tasks, with their successes, something that pushes them, that despite when all these things are happening, they're still saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to win, because there's no other choice. There's no other way.
Happening. So when you shared that, I wanted to leave this for us recording. When you shared that story, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally true. Like,
right?
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. And I was sharing with you that almost all of my clients are high achievers. They're all entrepreneurs, right? And I'm thinking about it, and it kind of brought me to, I can't believe I'm sharing this, but I'm gonna share it anyway. Willie and I got in this big argument last night, yesterday, the day before yesterday, which followed yesterday. And yesterday was when we had said, hey, you know what? We really need to talk about this. And so we were talking, we were opening up about like just where we're at, in our marriage, things that we both want to, change in our marriage, where we're feeling maybe left out, unsupported. And it was a really good argument, but I'm gonna tell you right now, 2 nights ago, I didn't think it was a great argument. Like I was like, all right, so how's this gonna look? So I'm either gonna shake the shit out of him, or, I'm gonna figure some way out to pay him back. I'm not gonna lie. And I was like, well, shaking the shit would only work for a couple seconds. Like, let's make something a little bit more permanent, right? Just to kind of give you an idea of how pissed I was.
Oh no.
But and he was pissed too. But I decided to sleep it off, and I was like, I need to have a come to Jesus moment, because if not, I'm about to catch a case. And so slept it off. The next morning, we had to run, and the kids were, of course, late, like always. No biggie. And we had talked, and we had both said, we're gonna have a conversation later on in the day. And I had called him, and I was like, hey, I can't concentrate. This is really bugging me. And I just wanted to tell you I love you. And my voice cracked, and I started crying. And he's like, wait. And I was like, oh shit, man. God. See, this is why I'm not vulnerable. This is why I don't want to be vulnerable. And he's like, wait. And even though I preach it all day, like, not for me. For you guys, yes, it works, but not for me. And he's like, wait. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I just want to tell you, I love you so much. He's like, you mean the world to me.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, thank you, but I'm still pissed off at you. Thank you. And he's like, we do need to talk. We'll go ahead and talk about it later on today. So it was like, okay, cool. And so we had this discussion, and I'm getting to your TikTok video. We had this discussion, and we're both like opening up, and what we both wanted was more time with each other. The way it looked, the way the argument looked, it looked like, well, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough, whatever. But ultimately, like, the crux of it was, we just want more time spent with one another. And,
we literally practiced. We literally used a worksheet that I use with my clients. So if any of my clients are listening, hell yes, I use the Gottman Dreams Within Conflict scripts. We totally did that. But at the end, Willie asked me, he's like, babe, he goes, do you feel like you're enough? And I looked at him and I was like, yeah, duh. Do you feel like you're enough? Right. And I'm like, I said it, I answered so quickly that I didn't give myself to process it. And so right now, and I left that final answer, right? It was one of those things, final answer, yes. But right now, as you bring it up and you bring up that TikTok, like, wait a minute, all of these things that, you know, we're all doing, like, what is the real reason behind it? You know, is it because we feel like we're enough? But if we felt like we were enough, then we would actually celebrate the accomplishments we've made, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know about for you, but I know for a lot of high achievers, we don't celebrate that shit. It's like, okay, right? And you're shaking your head no, right? We check the box. Okay, that was awesome. Next. We don't celebrate it. And then I just started thinking right now, like, well, why don't we celebrate it? Well, because it's not enough. It's not enough. It will be enough when, or, you know, it will, you know, we'll go ahead and accomplish one more task and then we'll feel enough, or we'll accomplish one more goal and then we'll feel enough. But then the goalpost continues to move. So to your statement with regards to high achievers having some, I'm not even going to call it healthy amount of trauma, but just the right amount of trauma.
Just the right amount of trauma.
Not to get us to where we're, you know, cracked out, but like just the right to where we're using the trauma for good use, right? Or for good reason or good purpose, whatever you want to fill in the blank. What would you say it was for you? So mine was probably the times that my mom told me our phones were tapped and my dad was a gang member and he was a heroin addict. Those were probably my times, and I could go on and on with that. Totally normal in every household. What would you say was yours?
My childhood trauma.
Well, maybe not saying all of the trauma, childhood trauma, right? But what would you say was
like? Did I just pick one, or? No, I mean, I would say, I mean, first of all, I had a happy childhood. My parents were there. It was good, but I will say that there was a lot of not a lot of unconditional love giving. You know, you always had to reach for it. I was always competing with my sisters. I'm a twin, but the middle child in a lot of aspects.
I didn't know you were a twin, Jennifer.
Wild child. Yeah.
Holy shit. I've known you for a minute. I didn't know that.
So, I mean, I think, you know, you never could walk away from a conversation. I never saw my parents resolve the conflict. I never, you know, all those classic kind of things. And I think that really made me not competitive, as in I'd get out there and, you know, crush somebody in a sport, but, you know, competitive in my brain of like what I knew and what I could excel at. And I became really systematic. And, you know, I'm one of those people that has 1,000 checklists that, you know, I have to check off before I can even sleep, you know, that day. And if it's a checklist that takes 48 hours, guess who's not sleeping?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
But I had, to that point earlier too, I think the trauma can kind of come after that. So you had said that a lot of people don't celebrate their achievements, and I've been thinking a lot about that. So recently with my company, we had our first branded photo shoot, and my business partner and I, we hustled and we flew in, you know, our teammate from Connecticut and Texas, and we got everybody together and invested in this whole thing. And it was amazing. And I kept thinking to myself, some of these women are gonna meet you for the first time and be like, what is this person doing leading the company? Or like, oh, you're odd. You're a weird person. Like, I kind of imagine somebody different. I thought you'd be taller. And I had I couldn't believe my business partner, Alyssa, she's amazing. I couldn't believe how she rounded everybody up. And I was like, they're coming for her. She has this energy. And I was
it's not
like,
for me.
I cannot think of why somebody would rally to this little company that I built, and like why they would like fly in, like it's a trip, it's a family trip. And then after the shoot, I pulled up this text while I was talking to you. This was from one of the women after the photo shoot. This group, these friendships and company is exactly what I needed in my life. As we all know, how we can lose our identity when becoming a mom. You have no idea how much this team, this company has helped give me my confidence and self-identity back. And it has given me something other than my little family that I can be proud of. And I was like, what? Like my company? Like I did that? Like you're proud of this? And I was like, okay, maybe it was a little me. Maybe it was, my company. They're still talking to me, so I guess they liked me. Okay, so yeah.
Celebrating wins.
I got on a tangent.
Well, no, I love that. I love that though, and I'm glad you shared that. Celebrating wins. Why is that hard?
I don't think the win is the important to a lot of high achievers. I think it's the obstacle and the problem solving. So I can see, what gaps are happening with my company, and it bothers me. I know what needs to be resolved. I may not have the resources, so then I dwell on that and figure it out. It's always a puzzle. I don't like doing puzzles, but it's always a puzzle, and that's the important part to resolve. The win itself is cool, but almost, maybe anticlimactic. Maybe because there's not an audience. Maybe it's because you're doing it for yourself. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think?
Hey there, high-achieving moms and wives. Are you tired of feeling like something's missing in your marriage? Well, buckle up because I'm about to reveal the missing puzzle piece that will bring back the romance, intimacy, and equality you've been craving. I understand what you're going through. It's not just about the occasional date night or a box of chocolates. It's about creating a deep emotional connection, feeling truly understood, and being on the same page when it comes to parenting. You want more than just a teammate. You want a partner who supports you, lifts you up, and shares the responsibilities of life. But let's be real, finding that balance isn't easy. That's why my 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work program is here to guide you every step of the way. In just 12 weeks, I will help you build the foundation of a rock-solid relationship, one that's built on romance, intimacy, and equality. Imagine rekindling that spark, reigniting the passion, and discovering a whole new level of emotional security and communication with your partner. It's time to break free from the mundane and reignite the fire. But wait, you might be thinking, what have I tried already? Trust me, we've seen it all. Couples who've tried everything from fancy date nights to self-help books. And while those things have their place, they often miss the mark when it comes to true transformation. That's where my expertise comes in. As a licensed marriage and family therapist with a decade of experience, I've honed my skills in helping couples like you create lasting change. Together, we'll tackle the root issues and provide you with practical tools that actually work. So don't settle for an average marriage when extraordinary is within reach. Head over to veronicacisneros.org/coaching right now to learn more about this program and apply. Remember, spots are limited, so don't wait. This is your chance to finally have the romance, intimacy, and equality you've been yearning for. It's time to reclaim your emotional connection, support each other, and become the unstoppable team you were meant to be. Let's rewrite the story of your marriage together. Visit veronicacisneros.org/coaching and take the first step towards a love that exceeds your wildest dreams. The journey to a fulfilling marriage starts now. Don't miss out. So what are you waiting for? Go to veronicacisneros.org/coaching and let's transform your relationship.
Trying to flip it on me. I see you. I see you, girl. You know what? I'm going to answer it. I think because of that just enough trauma, I think it's because it wasn't enough when we were a kid. And so it wasn't enough for a kid. I remember there was a time, and I shared this with Willie during our conversation yesterday, our heart to heart. One of the questions he asked me was, does this relate to your story or your upbringing? And yeah, a fucking 1000% does. It does. My argument with Willie yesterday was, I don't think you understand what being an entrepreneur really means. Like, you say you get it, but I don't think you understand it. Like, I'm in charge of like a lot of my clinicians, they're the primary breadwinner. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I never mess with people's money. I never, ever, ever, I don't like messing with people's money, period. A lot of them are the primary breadwinner. And, I shared with you right now, I don't have an assistant and I'm looking very vigorously for one. But guess who then takes on the role of the assistant? Me. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. My clinicians are 1000% helping out, and they have clients to see, and guess who's behind on, assistant emails? Me. Right. And guess who can't just turn it off? Like, or still have a business to run. And that was our argument yesterday. And, for me, I have don't get me wrong. I don't want to fail. But I have no problem with failing. I mean, how many launches you've been with me? How many launches have I been like, well, shit, I didn't sell any courses, or I didn't, meet my goals, or whatever it is. And I haven't quit. I'm still going. I'm still going strong. Am I at my number? No, not even close. But it goes back to what you just said. I think there's so much, what is the word? There's so much of a high with trying to figure it out. Like, even though I hate it, there's times where I'm like, well, shit, I just wish this would be figured out for me. But but don't take it away. I'll figure this shit out, but don't take it away. There is this high of like, I just need to figure out the formula. And I'm going to share something with you. And I wish I would have shared it with my client, but I mean, obviously it was her therapy session, not mine. But I was giving her an example, and she was struggling with making a connection. And so, she had a mother who was an alcoholic, and I'm trying to help her make the connection. I was like, well, how does this relate to your past? And she's like, well, I don't think it does. And I'm like, girl, all the signs are saying it does. Let me go ahead and help you. And so I usually will disclose during that time. And I share with her, as I was little, I was like 10 years old. I remember like hosting fucking intervention meetings for my dad so he would stop using drugs. And I remember like there were times where he would say, you know what, you're right, Mija, I'm not going to do it. And it's like, all right, cool. Everybody be on their best behavior. Dad's not going to do drugs. So awesome. Mom, Q, be good to him, and don't give him any shit. Like, he already said he's not going to do it. Like, just let it slide. Whatever he gets mad at you, or whatever arguments or whatever vendetta you have against him, let this shit slide. Give it a week. Right. And then my brother, my sister, everybody's going to stay quiet. Like, we're not going to laugh. We're not going to cry. We're just going to give it like right in that in between. So everything's good. And then I had said it. The following morning, I wake up, we're going to school, and my dad does this. And if you guys can't see me, but it's like his eyes are closed. He's leaning back in the chair, and he's doing, I don't know why with heroin, your back itches. I mean, anything else could itch, but why is it always your back? Trauma. But my dad would do this. And he would like just wiggle in his chair and scratch his back. And it's like, fuck, the intervention didn't work. And it was like, shit. Well, I just have to figure out the formula. Because once I figure out the formula, then everything will be fine. And I said that out loud to my client. And then she's like, oh my God. And then she started processing through her trauma. But I was still like, oh shit, that's mine. How often with my own work, how often have I said, I just need to figure out the formula with selling these courses, with retreat launch, with workshop launch. If I could just figure out the formula, then it'll be successful, and me sharing that with you, what would you say comes up for you? Did you ever have those moments? It's like, I just need to figure out this formula.
Yes. I think another commonality is that you're always changing and always trying to find those solutions, which again is this formula seeking where you're not in it to win, you're in it to improve. So my husband and I think one of the worst parts of our marriage was because I was working at night, I was working around the clock, and I was doing these things. He was like, you can't, like, you're not there, you're never there. And I was like, I have to be here. If I quit moving on this, then it's all over. And so then I finally segmented my time and worked out some of that, and, started, drinking heavily in the night because, like, I couldn't turn off my brain. You got to do something. Yeah. And then I don't drink anymore at home. At least I still go out socially. Yeah. Margaritas, right? So, I mean, like, there's always like down times, but I think I've been processing through this a lot. I think what happens with women in my position is they get into, this is not a term, I made it up. Yeah. Okay. What I think of as time debt, you get into this kind of hole where you're digging yourself in deeper time debt with your family, time debt with your business, time debt, and with friends. You're always failing at something because you never have enough time for the things that take 5 minutes, because everything takes 5 minutes. That's what I tell my husband all the time. So he's like, but it would only take 5 minutes. I was like, but if you knew how many 5-minute things I have due, like, right now, it's, it's a week. And so I think the way I like to think about it is you have to dig yourself out of that time debt the same way that you dig yourself out of financial debt. You write it all down, you look at what's happening, and then you have to find a solution. And it's not going to take overnight. You can't just abandon all responsibilities and change overnight. It could take years. It's taken me years. But eventually you start delegating better. You start improving how you spend time with your family and really making it to where your brain turns off, because it is family time. And then you know that, this is the time. I'm not saying segmenting works all the time. I work with a kid in my lap half the time. Yeah. But finding what works for you and how you can be happy and how you're not, I'm a huge people pleaser. But finding a pathway out of what's burying you is, the only way you can survive. I'm not sure if that actually answers your question.
Well, take me through. So how did you know, like, holy shit, I'm kind of compromised. I'm switching, like, whatever I'm not dealing with alcohol right now, or I'm switching, like, because I think this is something that we all do. And I've noticed I know we all do it. I know we'll go ahead and replace, wherever we feel we're lacking with something else. Like with me, I would replace it with another task, and it's like, it's fine. It's the kids are fine. My husband's fine. Everything's going to be fine. Even though my husband would say, like, okay, wait a minute. You didn't go to bed with me. And then I'm walking past you at 2:00 in the morning and you're still on your computer, like, come to bed. And it's like, I will. But remember, you told me you didn't want me to work later at the office. Well,
so I waited till you went to bed.
Bingo.
So now I can work. I waited till the kids went to bed. So everybody's they don't see me on the computer. So I'm going to work till 4 a.m. And then when people get up, then I'll make breakfast.
Yeah. And everything will be so great.
Everything's so fine. This feels good.
Yes, exactly. Take me through that process. Take me through the hard point. What was that like for you? And how did you know you were like, holy shit, I'm in it?
Different times. There was a time between my second and third kid, I was secretly smoking cigarettes because my husband would have never approved, but, like, I love those 7-minute breaks where you just got to, like, go. But it was like, still midnight, and I'm processing my thoughts by smoking a cigarette. And my youngest, my baby, was still snuggling up to me and wasn't sleeping well. And I realized that he might be getting, like, something off me and not sleeping well. So I was like, well, that's got to change. I read, like, some book. I don't remember the title of it, but it was amazing. And I quit overnight on that. But then my brain still wouldn't shut off. Yeah. So I don't know when. I've always, like, drank, but when I realized that it was too much, you'll laugh at this. Maybe you will. So there was a point after that where I was like, okay, I can take 4-5 shots of whiskey or a drink, like say measurements, over this amount of time, and I would still be able to wake up if a kid woke up, and I would still be able to get up in the morning and do it. So I had a very perfect calculation. I was like, I don't have a problem because I know exactly how much I can drink and still be a mom.
Yeah.
So that again, see, I'm a reader. So again, I was reading this book about optimizing your time and energy. And one of them was, the right amount of sleep. And I was like, well, that's not happening.
Yeah. Okay. Next. What's the next step? What's the next step?
Flip the page.
There's got to be something else in here.
I know. Well, and the thing was that my lack of nutrition, because I was drinking and eating badly, because I was drinking, even though it wasn't excessively in any kind of way, it was very calculated, was for my mood, was for my anxiety levels were high. So across the board, I made a change to where it sounds so stupid. I started eating more vegetables, salads every day. Like that was the course. And I was able to get off, I was working out. I got off my anxiety medicine. I stopped drinking at home, and my energy levels and mood improved to such a high extent that I realized I could actually work at a higher level than I was before. So that really was the aha moment. I was like, okay, if I did these two things and it elevated my performance times, 100, what else can I do to accelerate, me? So it was like, okay, well, I need to set aside an actual time to turn off my brain. I don't know who said this, but if you're worrying about all the things you have to do, you're not actually resting. Like you're just sitting there like thinking. So I was like, okay, well, we do need designated time, learn to meditate, do whatever, research, read a book, but whatever you need to do to occupy your brain. And I just kept uncovering and improving. I don't know what works with other people, but I will say when you think, this is a really messed up way of thinking about this or doing this, or you're not performing well. And I think it should be noted that the number of women, I don't remember the exact statistic, but the number of women being hospitalized right now for alcohol poisoning is like the highest it's ever been. I think diagnosis with anxiety and depression as well. And there's, there's a reason. So, I mean, it's just really uncovering more about yourself and knowing and trying different things. I got lucky because just how my brain works.
The thing is, I wouldn't even say you got lucky. You were willing to go out and do something different. You were willing, like, I appreciate you giving us that kind of visual where you're smoking, your kid's sleeping on your lap, and you're like, oh shit, wait a minute. Something about this ain't right. And high achieving women are totally going to fucking get that. It's like, I'm trying to go ahead and do 15 things at one time. This one's fine. He's asleep. It's not even happening, but how often we lie to ourselves to accommodate this. I don't even know what it is. This robot, this task, this business. I mean, all of the above, but we'll literally work our asses off and we'll start lying to ourselves because it's not that big of a deal. 5 shots of whiskey. I'm going to be more than good. If my kids wake up, like I'm going to fucking be on top of the world because it says 5, but we'll lie to ourselves just so we can keep functioning. I can't tell you how many times I've said, like, I mean, do I really need to pee right now? I mean, I can totally hold it another hour or two and I'll be
I have
fine.
Totally been like, I have held it all day because I've had other stuff to do.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, I can't believe
it's healthy.
It's totally healthy. So I can't believe I'm fucking going to say this shit right now, but I know I'm not the only one. Willie called me one time and he's like, hey, you haven't called me at all. And I was like, I know, it's because I'm working. Like, because I've been busting my ass here. Like, no big deal. And he's like, well, it's like 4:00. He goes, and I was worried about you. He goes, have you had anything to eat? And I was like, oh, it's 4? No. He's like, you haven't had anything to eat? And I was like, no. And he goes, and he's joking. And he's like, I bet your ass hasn't even gone to the bathroom, but he's joking. And I'm looking at the time and I'm like, Oh,
Oh,
fuck, it is
yeah.
4. I haven't gone to the bathroom. Holy shit. And he's like, well, don't you need to go pee? And I was like, well, now that you say it, now I have to.
I probably could have like lasted another hour, but thanks.
I know. Thanks a lot, man. And I'm like, oh shit. And so I'm taking my phone and, I had a little tiny bit of a break before my next client because they're usually late. And I'm walking to the bathroom and he's like, how the fuck have you held it for so long? And I was like, I just don't think about it. Like, you just don't think about it. And then I go, but now that I got up and I'm moving, now I think about it. And this is the part I didn't want to share, but I'm going to share it anyway. And so he's like, how the hell are you doing that? I was like, I don't know, but I really need to go. I go, have you ever needed to go so bad that you feel like your pee's going to come out of your nose? And he's like, what?
What?
And I was like, I don't know. That's what it feels like. I feel like my pee. That's probably impossible. I'm not good with anatomy, but I feel, so if any urologists are listening, please hit me up.
Oh, no.
But I'm like, that's like literally how I feel right now. I feel like it's going to come out of my nose because I need to go so fucking badly. And he's like, well, just get off the phone with me and go. But it's like, it's true. Like we do sacrifice ourselves for whatever goals we're trying to accomplish and whatever tasks we need to accomplish, and the truth is it never ends. So to hear that you've read up on certain things, I need to read up on about the nose thing, but to hear that you've read
But
up.
it's healthy.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Totally
We're high achieving.
Totally
Women.
kicking ass. Yeah, I'm totally going to make that doctor appointment.
It's funny because I tell my business partner all the time, she doesn't come from this background. She comes from a design background where she kind of ended in this place with me. But I tell her all the time about the entrepreneur brain because she'll write an email where she over-explains in 5 paragraphs the issue that we're having. I was like,
no, girl.
Delete. I was like, in one sentence, say what the solution is.
Yeah.
They don't need to know the problem. They need to know the solution. And I think that, that goes back to like why the win isn't as good as the journey. It's because we need to know the solution. We don't need to know everything, behind them.
Mm-hmm. I'm writing that down. The win is the journey.
But same thing with the P-nose is that our brains operate on this level to where when, you're conquering this thing, you're in this task, you're immersed, like nothing else matters. It's like, I think, what dudes probably feel when they're going through that tunnel of vision where everything's so loud around them, but for some reason they can't hear their like kid going, daddy, or like shouting or jumping off like they don't hear it. I'm like, I am going insane. There's so much noise. How can you not like hear this? But I imagine that's probably kind of what they feel in a different capacity, maybe to a lesser extent.
So the whole reason for this series is for high achieving women, and I want to know how to best serve them. So I'm going to ask you, in what ways can I serve you? A lot of women have said retreats, going away on a retreat with other women that are experiencing the same thing where we can just talk about where we're at, what our struggles are, not necessarily male bashing, but like, this is where we're at right now. Veronica, help us. What would you say if you can go ahead and customize the ideal plan for you? In what ways can I best serve you?
Ideal plan. I think, the retreat is an ideal scenario because what these women feel a lot of the time is alone. So developing a place where they can be with other women and who are going through similar things as them is always a win, always a good thing. For a lot of times, though, these women don't feel like they can take off or financially can't do it or just time-wise or have other responsibilities. Or something I hear a lot in my circle is, if I were going to spend the money on a retreat, I need to do it with my family, not myself. So, in that case, this podcast is pretty great. Your master class with reclaiming identity, like that was pretty cool. I think you're doing it. I think what you're doing is very, very important. Always identifying different avenues, but mostly I think it's just women need to know that they have support and have understanding out there, and that this is very, very different than other scenarios that other women, other men, other people are going through. So
yeah, definitely.
Kudos.
My last question. What is one thing, because I know we all struggle with this, and this is why I make it my last question. It's the most important one. What is one thing you are most proud of yourself for?
Oh man. You like saved the hardest question for last after we finished talking about how like imposter syndrome and not worth anything. What I am most proud of. I think I would have had difficulty before last weekend answering that, but the idea that I could be responsible for bringing women together, for having them find identity and self-worth in the job and business that I'm building, there's no higher feeling than that.
Yep.
And if you want to draw parallels with family, same thing. When my kids are proud of themselves for practicing and doing something, like I feel pretty good about that too. But in the end, I think it would all collapse if it weren't me. So
yeah, yes,
pride in improving myself, like we talked about, always identifying new ways to move forward. And I mean, you just gotta. So
yeah, good. Jennifer, thank you so much for jumping on and recording this podcast with me. It's always fun to talk to you. I feel so sane when I talk to you.
Good luck.
So for those of us that want to work with you, how do we find you?
Okay, it's TME Brand Marketing, TMEbrandmarketing.com, or you can email us at marketing@themomempire.com. And we do websites and social media. So hit us up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's be honest, we can all use a little help in our marriage, especially when it comes to communicating. I have created a guide just for you. 5 things that are killing your marriage, tips from a therapist. Find out if you are making these marriage mistakes. Ladies, this guide is 100% free. I will give you practical tips and easy to use strategies to apply right away. You all know I'm a huge advocate for couples. I am on a mission to help you and your partner experience stress-free living. With this free guide, we are setting our marriages up for success. But it starts with you. You will find this free guide here in the show notes, or go to www.veronicacisneros.org. The information I will be providing you is next level, and people pay good money to get these tips that I will be giving you for free. Don't forget to share this with a friend. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
Hey there. This is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking-obsessed culture without a buzz, and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst-case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen, and I hope you check it out. Hey there. This is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking obsessed culture without a buzz and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen. And I hope you check it out.
It's easy to blame ourselves for our struggles with alcohol. We see people around us being able to control their drinking without any consequences, yet no matter what we try, we can't seem to figure it out for ourselves. My name is Jillian Teets, and I am the host of the Sober Powered podcast, where I use my biochemistry background to explain the latest research in addiction and help you understand both why you drink the way you do and how to develop the skills and mindset you need to find freedom from alcohol. I discuss topics like why we think about our drinking 24/7, why we have no off switch, and why we crave alcohol. If you're struggling with your drinking or you know someone who is, then I hope that you will check out the Sober Powered podcast. New episodes every Friday. See you there.
Addiction impacts all of us. Addiction's consequences run through all of us. From ourselves to our loved ones and through our communities, addiction creates so much loss and grief. My name is Dwayne Osterlin, and I'm the host of the Addicted Mind podcast, a show featuring personal stories, expert guests, and vital information about addiction and addiction recovery. We'll talk with leading treatment providers to discuss the latest research and treatment options for this devastating disease and advocate for mental health awareness. We discuss topics like the importance of creating a community of support, to helping loved ones, to some of the latest research on psychedelic medicines. The Addicted Mind podcast has been about creating hope, listening to stories of many amazing people that have overcome addiction and are thriving. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, subscribe to the Addicted Mind podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or check out theaddictedmind.com. New episodes every Monday. See you there.
Hey there, this is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking obsessed culture without a buzz and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen. And I hope you check it out.
Oh, hey, it's Erin.
And I'm Michaela, and we're the hosts of the Two Sober Girls podcast, and we are on a mission to spill the wild truth about sobriety.
Forget the rosé all day cliche. Sobriety is flipping amazing.
Absolutely. It's not just about quitting the drink. It's a gift you give yourself and your loved ones.
So what are you waiting for? Break up with that old toxic relationship with alcohol and let us show you the possibilities.
And here's the thing. Everything your precious heart desires becomes way easier without the influence of alcohol.
We're not just two sober girls, we're also wellness coaches. We're here to show you how to optimize health, lifestyle, and beauty, feel sexy and alive as F.
So stay tuned because we're rolling out new episodes every Monday wherever you get your podcasts, and trust us, they have your name written all over them. We can't wait to share the magic of sobriety and wellness with you. Subscribe to Two Sober Girls podcast today and come follow us on Instagram for behind the scenes action and send us a DM. We can't wait to meet you.